The sensor array beeped 3 times. Rilith ignored it. Equipment malfunctioned all the time in the Broken Edge sector. Radiation storms played tricks on the instruments. She had filed 20 false alarm reports this month alone. The beeping continued. Rilith sighed and pulled up the display. Her 3 eyes widened. Something was moving through the storm belt. Nothing moved through the storm belt. The gravitational shears would crush any vessel into dust. She had watched it happen to a smuggler ship 5 years ago. She ran the scan again. The reading stayed the same. Computer verified target authenticity. Target confirmed. Mass reading inconsistent with known vessel classifications. Speed exceeds maximum theoretical limits by factor of 12. Rilith felt her throat sacs tighten, 12 times faster than possible. She reached for the emergency comm panel with a trembling hand. Central Command, this is Observation Post 79. I have an unidentified vessel approaching Imperial space. Authorization code Rilith 77 Amber. The response came instantly. Post 79, verify your equipment status. No vessel can traverse the Broken Edge. Equipment verified. Target is Rio. Sending data now. 3 minutes of silence followed. Rilith watched the mysterious vessel continue its impossible journey. It did not slow down. It did not change course. It simply moved forward as if the laws of physics were suggestions rather than rules. Post 79, maintain observation. Emergency protocols are active. Supreme Council has been notified. Rilith had worked this posting for 16 years. The Supreme Council had never been notified about anything she reported. Her hands shook as she locked all sensors onto the target. The vessel kept coming. In the Imperial capital, Chancellor Vornim received the report while reviewing agricultural quotas. He dropped the datapad. Within 20 minutes, every council member sat in the emergency chamber. None of them looked pleased about the early summons. Commander Havrin arrived in full military dress. His scales gleamed under the harsh lights. Show me. The central hologram displayed the sensor data. The mysterious vessel appeared as a small red dot, crawling across the display toward their territory. This is clearly a malfunction, Havrin announced. Nothing moves that fast. Nothing survives the Broken Edge. Science Advisor Quilmes studied the data with her forearms crossed. The readings are consistent across multiple sensor arrays. 3 different observation posts confirm the target. Then explain how it is possible, Havrin demanded. I cannot. Our understanding of physics does not account for this. Chancellor Vornim raised a hand for silence. Have we attempted communication? Yes, Chancellor, Quilmes replied. Standard hailing frequencies in all known languages. No response. Increase to emergency broadcast. Include mathematical progressions to show intelligence. If this vessel houses sentient beings, they must understand we are attempting contact. The order went out immediately. Every communication array in the outer systems began broadcasting. Mathematical sequences, prime numbers, chemical formulas, anything that might bridge the gap between species. The vessel did not respond. It did not slow down. It simply continued forward. Havrin slammed his fist on the table. This is an invasion. We must respond with force. We know nothing about their intentions, Quilmes countered. They have made no hostile moves. They refuse communication. They invade our space. That is hostile enough. Havrin turned to Chancellor Vornim. I request authorization to mobilize the fleet. Vornim studied the hologram. The dot moved closer with each passing second. Mobilize 3 battlecruisers. Intercept course. Do not fire unless fired upon. We will attempt peaceful contact first. Havrin looked disappointed but nodded. As you command. The meeting dissolved into arguments about protocols and procedures. Quilmes barely listened. She could not stop watching the vessel's trajectory. It moved with purpose. Not wandering. Not exploring. It knew exactly where it was going. Rilith watched the battlecruisers launch from their orbital stations. She had never seen military vessels move so quickly. They formed a perfect triangle formation and accelerated toward the intercept coordinates. The mysterious vessel maintained speed. It would reach the intercept point in 4 hours. Post 79, this is Battlecruiser Dominator's Will. Commander Havrin speaking. Maintain continuous sensor lock. Report any changes immediately. Acknowledged, Commander. Target remains stable. No deviation in course or speed. Rilith felt exhausted. She had been on duty for 12 hours. Protocol said she should wake her replacement. But she could not leave. Something historic was happening. She had to see it through. She brewed herself a bitter stimulant drink and settled in for the wait. The hours crawled past. The mysterious vessel never changed, never slowed, never acknowledged the increasingly desperate communication attempts. When it finally appeared on close-range sensors, Rilith gasped. The vessel was small, smaller than any interstellar ship she had ever seen, barely larger than a personal transport. How could something so tiny cross the distances between stars? And its design, so simple. No artistic elements, no displays of cultural identity, just smooth metal surfaces and basic geometric shapes. Utilitarian, functional, almost primitive in appearance. All stations, this is Commander Havrin. We are beginning intercept procedures. Stand by for direct engagement. Rilith zoomed in her sensors to maximum resolution. The battle cruisers positioned themselves directly in the vessel's path. Surely it would stop now. Surely it would acknowledge 3 massive warships blocking its route. The vessel maintained speed. Unknown vessel, this is your final warning. Reduce speed and prepare for inspection. Failure to comply will be considered a hostile act. No response. Fire warning shots across their bow. 3 energy lances shot out from the battle cruisers. Brilliant blue beams designed to vaporize asteroids. They struck the space in front of the mysterious vessel, or they should have struck. Instead, the beams simply dissolved. They broke apart into harmless radiation 100 meters before reaching the target. What in the depths? Havrin's voice cracked over the comm. All weapons fire again. More energy beams. Same result. They fell apart before contact. The mysterious vessel did not slow down. It passed through the formation as if the battle cruisers were not there. It did not fire back. It did not acknowledge them at all. It simply continued forward. Rilith heard panicked voices over the command channel. Impossible. The word repeated over and over. This was impossible, but it was happening. The vessel continued toward the capital system. Rilith updated her tracking data and sent it to command. Her hands no longer shook. Fear had been replaced by something else. Wonder. Terror. Excitement. Everything was about to change. She could feel it in her bones. The mysterious vessel moved through space like a ghost, untouchable and unstoppable. And somewhere inside that small metal shell, someone or something was coming to meet the Talvari Empire. Whether as friend or destroyer remained to be seen. 3 battle cruisers sat motionless in space. Their crews stared at sensor screens that made no sense. Commander Havrin watched the mysterious vessel shrink on his display as it continued toward the capital world. Damage report, he said quietly. No damage, sir. Their vessel made no aggressive moves. It simply passed through our position. Havrin had commanded fleets for 30 years. He had fought pirates, raiders, and rebels. He had never felt helpless before. The sensation burned in his gut like poison. All ships maintain pursuit. Science teams, I want answers. What are we dealing with? His sensor officer looked up from her station. Her face showed the same confusion Havrin felt. Commander, I have analyzed the hull composition from our close-range scans. The material does not match anything in our database. Unknown alloy? Unknown everything. The atomic structure is wrong. It should not be able to hold together under the stress of that speed. Quilmes arrived on the bridge via emergency transport. She rushed to the science station without greeting anyone. Her fingers flew across the controls. Fascinating, she whispered. This changes everything we know. Explain, Havrin demanded. The propulsion system. We can detect no energy signature. No plasma exhaust. No gravitational distortion. Yet it moves faster than our best ships. Either they have discovered entirely new physics, or they are using principles so advanced we cannot detect them. What about shields? Our weapons did not reach the target. Quilmes pulled up the weapons data. That is the strangest part. They have no shields, no defensive fields at all. Our weapons simply lost cohesion before impact, as if something drained them of power. So they are invulnerable, or we are attacking incorrectly. Quilmes turned to face Havrin. This vessel has been traveling for a very long time. Background radiation analysis suggests decades, possibly centuries. Impossible. No species can survive that long in space. We keep using that word, impossible. Yet everything about this vessel is impossible. Quilmes returned her attention to the data. I recommend we cease all hostile actions. If this species can create such technology, we do not want them as enemies. Havrin wanted to argue. His pride demanded he try again. But pride would not protect the Empire. Agreed. Maintain pursuit at a safe distance. Alert me immediately if it changes behavior. The mysterious vessel entered orbit around the capital world exactly 18 hours after first detection. It positioned itself above the largest city. 10 billion Talvari citizens looked up at their sky and saw an alien presence hovering over them. Panic spread through the streets. Parents grabbed their children. Businesses closed. The planetary defense grid powered up every weapon platform. Chancellor Vornum watched from the council chamber. Hold all defensive measures. If they wanted to attack, they could have done so already. Then what do they want? One council member demanded. The answer came minutes later. The mysterious vessel began broadcasting. Not words. Not images. A stream of pure data. Coordinates, numbers, mathematical formulas, and a set of symbols that the computer eventually translated as a time. 1 hour. It is requesting a meeting, Quilmes said. The coordinates point to a small moon in our system. Uninhabited. Low gravity. Minimal atmosphere. This could be a trap, Havern warned, or an opportunity. Vornum stood. Prepare a diplomatic shuttle. I want scientists, linguists, and security personnel. Quilmes, you will lead this mission. Quilmes felt her heart's race. Chancellor, I am honored, but perhaps someone with more diplomatic experience should go. You understand science. You approach unknowns with curiosity rather than fear. That makes you perfect for this task. Vornum placed a hand on her shoulder. Besides, you are the one who said we should seek peaceful contact. Quilmes could not argue with that logic. I will need time to prepare. You have 40 minutes. The vessel gave us 1 hour. Arriving late would be disrespectful. The preparation time blurred past. Quilmes gathered a team of 5. 2 security officers with non-lethal weapons, 2 xenobiologists, 1 communication specialist. They boarded a fast diplomatic shuttle and raced toward the coordinates. The mysterious vessel was already there. It had landed on the moon's surface in a cleared area. The rocks and dust had been swept aside somehow. Not melted, not exploded. Simply moved, creating a perfect landing circle. Approach with caution, Quilmes ordered. Land 100 meters from their position. The shuttle touched down softly. Through the viewport, they could see the alien vessel up close for the first time. It looked even more basic than the sensor data suggested. No windows, no external markings, just smooth gray metal and a few small ports that might be engines. Life signs? Quilmes asked, detecting one. Single being inside the vessel. Oxygen breathing. Carbon-based chemistry. Roughly our size, only one. How can a single being operate an interstellar vessel? I have no answer for that. They waited. Minutes passed. Quilmes was about to suggest approaching the vessel when a door opened on its side. Not sliding. Not mechanical. The metal simply parted like liquid and reformed into a ramp. That should not be possible, one of the xenobiologists whispered. Add it to the list. Quilmes replied. A figure emerged from the vessel. It walked on 2 legs, had 2 arms, roughly humanoid in shape but clearly alien. It wore simple clothing, no environmental suit despite the thin atmosphere, no visible weapons or equipment. The being stood at the bottom of the ramp and waited. Quilmes made a decision. She ordered the shuttle door opened. The thin atmosphere rushed in, cold and barely breathable. She activated her breathing mask and stepped outside. The 2 security officers followed close behind, the alien being raised one hand. Palm forward. Empty. A universal gesture of peace, perhaps. Quilmes mimicked the gesture. They approached slowly. With each step, Quilmes observed more details. The being had only 2 eyes. Strange. Hair on its head. Unusual. Smooth skin covering its face. 5 fingers on each hand instead of 3. They stopped 3 meters apart. The being touched something on its wrist. A small device. When it spoke, the words came out in perfect Talvari language. Accented but understandable. Hello, my name is Amy Ross. I am human. I come from a planet called Earth. I have been traveling for 340 years. I am very tired, and I am very glad to finally meet someone else in this galaxy. Quilmes felt her mind struggle to process the words. 340 years. Alone. Traveling through the void. This small being had endured what should have driven anyone insane or killed them outright. I am Quilmes, science advisor to the Talvari Empire. We welcome you, Amy Ross of Earth. We have many questions. Amy smiled. The expression looked strange on her alien face. I imagine you do. I have questions too, like whether any of my people made it, whether I am the last human in the galaxy. But first I need to warn you about something. Warn us? During my journey, my sensors detected a large fleet moving through deep space. Thousands of ships. They are heading this direction, toward your empire. I do not know who they are, but fleets that large are rarely peaceful. Quilmes felt cold despite her insulated suit. How far away? At their speed? Maybe 2 of your months. I tried to outrun them to reach you first, to give you warning. You crossed hostile space alone to warn strangers about danger? Amy's smile faded. Where I come from, you do not let neighbors face threats alone. Even if you just met them. That is what being human means. Quilmes looked at this small, fragile being who had endured centuries of isolation and still chose to help others. The Talvari Empire was about to learn what humans were truly capable of, and possibly what it meant to have them as friends. The medical facility smelled wrong to Amy. Too clean, too sterile. Not like the recycled air she had breathed for centuries. She sat on an examination table while 3 Talvari doctors studied her with instruments that hummed and clicked. Please extend your arm, the lead doctor requested. Amy complied. She had agreed to these tests. The Talvari needed to understand her biology. They had been polite about it. No invasive procedures, no painful extractions. Just scans and observations. The doctor waved a device over her arm. His eyes widened. He waved it again. Then he called his colleagues over. They spoke rapidly in their own language, forgetting to use the translation device. Is something wrong? Amy asked. The lead doctor remembered his manners. Forgive us. We are simply surprised. Your bone density is extraordinary, 3 times denser than ours. Your skeleton could withstand impacts that would shatter our bodies. Amy shrugged. Earth has high gravity. We needed strong bones. Your muscle tissue is equally remarkable. The fiber density suggests you could operate in gravitational fields that would crush most species. How heavy is your homeworld? 0.7 standard. Amy did the math in her head. So about half Earth gravity. Yeah, you would find Earth pretty uncomfortable. The doctors continued their scans. Each new reading brought more surprise. Amy's redundant organ systems, her robust immune response, her ability to digest compounds that would poison most species, her healing capacity that seemed almost impossible. How long does it take you to recover from a broken bone? One doctor asked. Depends on the bone. Maybe 6 to 8 weeks with proper treatment. We require 6 months for similar injuries. Amy had not realized how different humans were from other species. She had imagined aliens would be similar to humans, just with different shapes. Instead, she was learning that humans were built like tanks compared to most galactic citizens. What is your homeworld like? The lead doctor asked. To produce such durability? Dangerous, Amy replied. High gravity, volatile weather, tectonic activity, lots of predators. Earth tried to kill us constantly, so we adapted. Quilmes entered the medical bay at that moment. She carried several datapads. Amy, I hope the examinations are not too tiring. I have spent 3 centuries in a cramped ship. This is luxury, Amy smiled. What brings you here? I wanted to share what we have learned about your vessel. May we speak privately? The doctors excused themselves. Quilmes sat beside Amy on the examination table. For a moment, she simply looked at the human, studying her, trying to understand. Your ship is remarkable, Quilmes finally said. The engineering is unlike anything we have created. Simple but effective, durable beyond measure. It kept me alive. That is all I needed from it. Our engineers found evidence of extensive repairs, all performed manually. Some repairs used materials that should not work, metal alloys mixed incorrectly. Wiring connected in ways our computers say would fail. Yet everything functions. I had to improvise. When systems failed, I used whatever I had available. Quilmes pulled up images on her datapad. This cooling system, you rebuilt it using 3 different incompatible technologies. It should have exploded. Instead, it operates more efficiently than the original design. I am an engineer. Problem solving is what we do. No, this is beyond engineering. This is survival through pure determination. Quilmes set down the datapad. I accessed your ship's logs. I hope you do not mind. Amy tensed. Those logs contained her darkest moments, the times she wanted to give up, the times she screamed at the void, the times she nearly vented herself into space rather than face another century alone. I read about your crew, Quilmus continued softly. The solar flare that damaged their cryopods. How you tried to save them, how you held each one as they died. I am deeply sorry. That was a long time ago. 187 years ago. You have carried that grief alone ever since. Amy felt tears forming. She had not cried in decades. Crying wasted water. But here, in safety for the first time in centuries, the walls cracked. They were my friends. My family. We were supposed to explore the galaxy together. Build a new home. Instead, I buried them in space and kept flying because someone had to finish the mission. Quilmus reached out carefully and placed her hand over Amy's. The gesture surprised Amy. Physical comfort from an alien. Yet it felt sincere. You are not alone anymore, Quilmus said. You found us. We will help you. You need to help yourselves first. That fleet I detected, the one coming toward your empire. They are called the Scourge. I found references in old transmission fragments. They destroy everything in their path. We have begun preparations. Commander Havron is mobilizing our full military force. But your warning provided limited tactical information. We need more details, I know. Amy wiped her eyes. My sensors were damaged. I could only detect mass and trajectory. But I know they are big. Thousands of ships, maybe more. Our projections suggest we have a 10% chance of survival. Amy looked up sharply. That is it? 10%? Our military has never faced an enemy this large. Our tactics assume similar technology levels. The Scourge are unknown. We cannot predict their capabilities. Then you need to change your approach. Stop thinking like an empire. Start thinking like survivors. I do not understand. Amy stood. Her earth-bred strength made the movement look effortless in the low gravity. Empires fight with honor. Survivors fight to win. Humans spent thousands of years fighting each other on Earth. We learned every dirty trick, every desperate tactic, every way to win when you are outmatched. Quilmus stood as well. You are offering to help us. I am offering to teach you. You have the technology. You have the numbers. You just need to learn how to fight like humans. We are not warriors by nature. We prefer diplomacy. Then learn to be warriors, or die politely. Your choice. The bluntness of Amy's words struck Quilmus. This human did not sugarcoat reality. She had survived alone for centuries because she faced truth directly. No illusions. No false comfort. What would you have us do? Quilmus asked. First, we need to find other humans. My broadcast went out on old Earth frequencies. If any other colony ships made it, they are out there somewhere. Humans together are more effective than humans alone. You think they will help strangers? Amy smiled. I crossed 3 centuries of void to warn you. That is what humans do. We stand with our neighbors, even the ones we just met. Over the next days, responses began arriving. 17 human vessels answered Amy's call. They came from mining colonies, research stations, trading posts, small settlements scattered across multiple systems. None were military. None were powerful. But all of them came. The Telvari Empire watched as humans gathered. Such different humans, different cultures, different backgrounds, united only by their species and their surprising willingness to fight for aliens they had never met. Commander Havron observed the arriving human ships from his command center. They looked primitive, rough, built for function rather than beauty. Mining vessels with improvised weapons, cargo haulers reinforced with armor plating, research ships carrying eager scientists. These are not warriors, Havron said to Quilmus. No, she agreed. They are something possibly more dangerous. They are humans who chose to help. Amy stood beside them watching her people arrive. For the first time in centuries, she felt hope. Not just for herself. For everyone. The Telvari had given her something she thought lost forever. Purpose. Community. A reason to keep fighting. The Scourge are coming, Amy said quietly. They think you will be easy prey. They have never fought humans before. Let us teach them why that is a mistake. 6 human representatives sat in the Supreme Council chamber. They looked out of place among the elegant Telvari architecture. Their clothing was practical, their posture relaxed. They showed no intimidation despite being surrounded by the most powerful government in this sector. Chancellor Vornum studied each human carefully. Captain Owen Brady wore a mining company jumpsuit stained with years of work. Dr. Leah Foster carried herself with academic confidence. Engineer David Okafor had rough hands and kind eyes. Commander Grace Winters displayed military bearing despite commanding only 3 small defense ships. Merchant Ann Liu watched everything with sharp intelligence. Farmer Ruth Steinberg looked tired but determined. Amy stood with them. Her people, after centuries alone, she belonged somewhere again. Thank you for coming, Vornum began. The Talvari Empire faces an existential threat. We do not ask you to fight our battles, but we welcome any assistance you might offer. Owen leaned forward. Let me be clear, Chancellor. We came because Amy asked. We stayed because this is the right thing to do. The Scourge will not stop with your empire. They will hunt down every human settlement. So this is our fight too. You have no obligation to us, Commander Havern said. We are strangers, Ruth laughed. Not mockingly, just genuinely amused. On Earth we had a saying. Good fences make good neighbors. But when the wolves come, neighbors stand together. Fence or no fence. Your settlements are small, Havern continued. Your ships are not military vessels. What can you possibly offer against thousands of warships? Grace Winters smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. We offer 300 years of human stubbornness. We offer the knowledge that humans do not quit. Ever. We offer tactics your people have never considered because you are too civilized to think of them. Explain, Vornum requested. David pulled up a holographic display. Your defense strategy relies on fleet formations, organized battles, honorable engagement, very civilized, very predictable. The Scourge will tear through it. What alternative do you suggest? Chaos. Humans fight dirty when we have to. We use terrain. We improvise. We set traps. We make the enemy afraid. David zoomed in on the capital system. This asteroid belt, you see it as a hazard. We see it as a weapon. Quilmes studied the display. You want to mine the asteroids with explosives. Better. We want to turn them into missiles. Strap engines to the biggest rocks. Aim them at enemy ships, low-tech, high impact, literally. Havern looked skeptical. That would require enormous resources. We have mining ships, Owen said. We drill asteroids for a living. Give us a week and we will turn your entire asteroid belt into a death trap. Anne spoke up. My trading network extends across 17 systems. I can call in favors. Get supplies. Move equipment. Humans are good at logistics. Let us handle the supply lines. I can provide medical support, Leah added. Human medicine is different from yours. Our healing techniques might work on Talvari biology. Worth exploring, Ruth smiled. And I run an agricultural station. Armies need food. I can coordinate farming output from human settlements. Keep everyone fed during the siege. Vornum felt something unfamiliar. Hope. These humans were not mighty warriors. They were regular people with regular jobs. But they approached the crisis with practical determination rather than despair. What about tactics? Havern asked. Military strategy? Grace stood. That is where I come in. I command a defense flotilla. 3 ships. We protect mining operations from pirates. Pirates do not follow rules. So we learn to fight without them. She pulled up tactical displays. Your ships are powerful, but you fly them in predictable patterns. The Scourge will exploit that. We need to teach your people how to be unpredictable. Our crews trained for years, Havern protested. Then they trained wrong. No offense. But military tradition makes you rigid. Humans who survived Earth learned adaptability. We change plans mid-battle. We take risks. We trust our instincts, Amy stepped forward. Commander, I spent centuries alone in a damaged ship. I survived because I never stopped adapting. Every day brought new problems. Every problem needed new solutions. That is the human way. That is what we can teach your people. Vornum made his decision. You have our authorization. Coordinate with our military. Use whatever resources you need. But understand this. If we fall, you fall with us, Owen grinned. Chancellor, humans walked out of caves and conquered a death world. We built ships from metal and dreams. We scattered across the galaxy knowing we might never find anyone else. We do not know how to quit. The Scourge picked the wrong empire to attack. The next weeks transformed the Talvari military. Young officers trained alongside humans. They learned tactics that made traditional commanders uncomfortable. Fighting from cover, feinting attacks, retreating to draw enemies into traps, concepts that felt like cowardice to a culture that valued honor. Rylith volunteered for training with Grace Winters. The human commander was half Rylith's size but twice as intimidating. Forget everything you learned about sensor warfare, Grace said. Sensors are tools, not rules. The enemy expects you to trust your sensors completely, so we feed them false information. That is deceptive, Rylith responded. That is survival. Would you rather die honorably or win dishonorably? Rylith had no answer. Her culture valued honor above victory, but honor meant nothing if everyone was dead, Grace continued. Humans broadcast false signals all the time. We pretend to be bigger than we are, or smaller, or damaged. Whatever makes the enemy make mistakes. War is not about fairness. It is about going home alive. The training was harsh. Grace pushed Rylith beyond her comfort zone, made her question assumptions, forced her to think creatively rather than following procedures. Why do humans fight this way? Rylith asked during a break. Grace sat beside her. Because Earth made us. We are not the strongest species that evolved there, not the fastest, not the biggest, but we are the smartest. We survived by outthinking everything that wanted to eat us. That lesson stayed with us even after we left Earth. You are proud of being weaker. We are proud of winning anyway. Strength fades. Speed fades. But intelligence and determination? Those last forever. Owen's mining crews worked miracles with the asteroid belt. They drilled. They planted engines. They set up remote guidance systems. Within 10 days, 300 asteroids became kinetic weapons waiting for targets. David's engineers reinforced Talvari ships with human pragmatism. They added redundant systems, created backup power sources, installed manual overrides for automated systems, made every vessel more survivable. Anne's logistics network moved supplies faster than the Talvari thought possible. Human efficiency came from cutting bureaucracy and just getting things done. Leah discovered that human medical techniques work surprisingly well on Talvari biology. She trained Talvari doctors in trauma care, showed them how to save patients that military medicine would write off as unsavable. Ruth coordinated food production across human settlements. She ensured everyone would eat. Morale mattered as much as weapons. Quilmes observed everything with scientific fascination. Humans were not superior in any single category, but they excelled at cooperation, at improvisation, at refusing to accept defeat. I understand now, she told Amy one evening. Understand what? Why you survived alone for centuries. Humans do not quit, even when quitting would be easier. Even when quitting would be logical. You simply keep going. Amy smiled sadly. We are stubborn. Sometimes stupidly so, but that stubbornness is why we are still here, why we spread across the galaxy despite having no reason to think we would find anyone. We hoped, we persisted, and now we are here to help you do the same. The scourge will arrive soon. Our preparations may not be enough. Then we make do with what we have. That is another human trait. We work with what is available rather than wishing for what is not. Quilmes felt her fear ease slightly. Humans radiated confidence, not arrogance, just the simple certainty that they would find a way. Somehow, the scourge would learn what the galaxy was beginning to understand. Humans could not be measured by their technology or their numbers. They had to be measured by their refusal to surrender, by their willingness to stand with allies, by their dangerous combination of intelligence and determination. The battle was coming. The Empire was ready, or as ready as anyone could be when facing extinction. But they were not alone anymore. They had humans fighting beside them, and humans did not know how to lose gracefully. The scourge arrived early, 3 days before projections said they would. Their fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system, like a plague of metal locusts. Thousands of ships, tens of thousands, more than sensors could accurately count. Rylith saw them first. Again. She had been promoted to Chief Sensor Coordinator after her training with Grace. Now she sat in the command center, watching death approach. All ships, this is Central Command. The enemy has arrived. Battle stations. May the ancestors guide us. Commander Havren stood in the war room surrounded by holographic displays. Each showed a different aspect of the approaching horror. The Scourge fleet moved in perfect formation. Precise, organized, confident. They do not fear us, Havren observed. Why would they? Grace stood beside him. They outnumber us 20 to 1. They have crushed empires before. To them we are just another victim. You sound calm. I am terrified. But fear is useful. It keeps you sharp. Makes you careful. Grace studied the enemy formation. They are too confident, too organized. They expect us to fight traditionally. That is their mistake. Amy entered the war room wearing a Talvari military uniform modified for human proportions. All human vessels are in position. We are ready. Your people volunteered for the most dangerous assignments, Havrin said. Why? Because that is what humans do. We take the risks so others do not have to. The Scourge fleet advanced slowly. They broadcast a message on all frequencies. The translation came through cold and mechanical. Talvari Empire. You are conquered. Surrender your worlds and submit to Scourge authority. Resistance will result in total extermination. You have one rotation to comply. Chancellor Vornum listened from the council chamber. His hands shook. He was a politician, not a warrior. But his people needed leadership. Broadcast our response, he ordered. The communication officer nodded. Vornum spoke clearly into the recorder. Scourge fleet. The Talvari Empire does not surrender. We stand with our allies. We will defend our homes. Come and face us if you dare. Grace smiled when she heard the message. Not bad for a politician. The Scourge response came immediately. Their fleet accelerated. No more talking. No more waiting. They came to crush resistance and take what they wanted. All ships execute Plan Chaos, Grace ordered. The Talvari fleet did not form up in organized lines. They scattered. Broke into small groups. Fled in different directions. To an outside observer it looked like panic. Cowardice. The Scourge bought it. They split their fleet to pursue multiple groups. Exactly as planned. Phase 1 successful, Rilith reported. Enemy formation is fragmenting. Good. Now comes the fun part. Grace activated the asteroid field weapons. Owen, you are clear to fire. 300 asteroids suddenly ignited engines. They erupted from the belt like missiles, not aimed at ships, aimed at empty space where ships would be in 30 seconds. The Scourge fleet flew right into them. Rocks weighing millions of tons struck at incredible speeds. Shields that could deflect energy weapons meant nothing against kinetic impacts. Ships shattered. Crews died without understanding what hit them. First blood to us, Owen broadcast. Asteroid batteries are empty. Falling back to Plan Chaos Part 2. The mining ships activated. They were not warships, but they carried industrial drilling lasers. Weapons designed to cut through solid rock. David had modified them to fire in rapid pulses. The mining vessels swooped in close to damaged Scourge ships. Their lasers cut through weakened hulls. Not elegant. Not military. But devastatingly effective. Scourge commanders tried to reorganize. Bring order back to their fleet. Humans did not let them. Anne's cargo haulers accelerated to ramming speed. They were not trying to ram ships. They were dropping cargo containers full of debris and scrap, creating clouds of wreckage that clogged sensors and damaged engines. This is insane, a Scourge commander broadcast. You fight without honor. Grace intercepted the message and responded. Honor does not win wars. Survival does. The Talvari fleet learned quickly. They stopped fighting like an organized military. Started fighting like desperate survivors. They used the terrain. Hid in radiation zones. Ambushed from behind gas giants. Every tactic humans taught them. Quilmes coordinated scientific attacks. She weaponized research equipment. Overloaded shield frequencies. Hacked into Scourge communication channels to broadcast false orders. Her team made the enemy paranoid and confused. The Scourge are adapting, Rylith warned. They are regrouping around their command carriers. Then we hit the command carriers, Grace decided. Amy, your ship is the only one that can get through their defenses. Are you ready? Amy felt fear, real fear, but she pushed it down. I have been alone for centuries. Dying with friends sounds better than dying alone. I'm ready. Her small exploration vessel accelerated. The same ship that crossed impossible distances now became a weapon. It slipped through Scourge defenses like a ghost. Their weapons could not touch it. Their shields could not stop it. Amy aimed for the largest command carrier, uploaded targeting data to every Talvari ship. Then she broadcast on all human frequencies. This is Amy Ross. If I do not make it back, tell my story. Tell them one human crossed the void. Found aliens. Stood with them. That is a good ending. You are not dying today, Grace responded. You still need to help us celebrate, Amy smiled. She lined up her approach. The command carrier grew larger in her viewport. Its weapons fired uselessly at her shielded vessel. She could see the command deck through the transparent sections. Scourge officers staring in disbelief as an impossible ship approached. For Earth, Amy whispered. For the Talvari. For everyone who fights beside me. She fired every weapon her ship possessed. Not at the hull. At the shield generators. The concentrated fire overloaded them. Dropped the barriers for exactly 3 seconds. Every Talvari ship in range fired simultaneously. Weapons that had been waiting for this exact moment. The command carrier's shields were down. Its hull was exposed. The combined fire was overwhelming. The carrier exploded in a brilliant flash. Secondary explosions ripped through its entire structure. The command staff died instantly. Amy pulled away from the debris field. Her ship had taken damage. Systems were failing. But she was alive. "Amy, status report," Grace demanded. "I am okay." "Ship is damaged but functional." That felt good. 1 command carrier down. They have 3 more. Then let us get them too. The battle raged on. Hours turned into days. Neither side could gain decisive advantage. The Scourge had numbers. The defenders had determination. Ships died on both sides. Heroes emerged and fell. The void filled with wreckage. David's cargo hauler took catastrophic damage protecting a Talvari medical ship. He stayed at the controls as his crew evacuated, guided his dying vessel into a Scourge destroyer. His sacrifice saved thousands. Owen's mining ship ran out of ammunition. He rammed 3 enemy fighters before his vessel finally broke apart. His last transmission was laughter. Ruth's agricultural station was caught in crossfire. She evacuated her people but stayed behind to rig the station to explode. She took a Scourge boarding party with her. Humans died. Talvari died. But they died fighting. They died protecting each other. They died making the Scourge pay for every inch of space. Havrin fought from his flagship. He had learned human tactics, abandoned rigid formations, trusted his instincts. He led from the front, inspired his crews, became the warrior his people needed. Quilmes coordinated everything from Central Command. She managed logistics, directed resources, solved problems in real time. Her scientific mind found patterns in chaos, made sense of madness. Rilith tracked every enemy ship, every movement, every weakness. Her sensors became the eyes of the entire defense. She never rested, never stopped, never quit. The Scourge began to understand what they faced. These were not normal defenders. These were beings who refused to lose, who fought with creativity and desperation, who had nothing to lose and everything to protect. The Scourge fleet started to fracture. Some ships fled, others fought to the death. Their unified command structure collapsed. Without coordination, their numbers meant less. Grace saw the opportunity. All ships' final push. Hit them with everything. Make them break. The combined fleet surged forward. Talvari ships and human vessels fighting side by side. Different species. Different technologies. United by choice and sacrifice. The second command carrier fell to concentrated fire. The third fled into faster-than-light travel. The fourth tried to rally the remaining Scourge forces but was destroyed by Amy's wounded vessel, and 3 Talvari cruisers working together. The Scourge fleet broke. Hundreds of ships retreated. Thousands died. They came expecting easy conquest. They found humans instead, and humans did not quit. As the last enemy vessels fled the system, exhausted defenders finally allowed themselves to breathe. They had won, impossibly, barely, but they had won. Debris floated everywhere. The system looked like a graveyard. Thousands of wrecked ships, Talvari, human, Scourge, all mingled together in death. Salvage crews moved carefully through the wreckage, searching for survivors and recovering bodies. Amy drifted in her damaged vessel. Life support was failing. Her cryopod was destroyed. She had accepted this might be her end. 340 years of survival, finally over. She felt strangely peaceful about it. A transport ship pulled alongside her vessel. Talvari rescue crews cut through her damaged airlock. They found her barely conscious, oxygen-deprived, hypothermic. They rushed her to medical facilities. She woke 3 days later. Quilmes sat beside her bed. "You are supposed to rest," Quilmes said gently. "I have rested for centuries. I'm done resting." Amy tried to sit up. Her body protested. "How many did we lose?" 60% of the Talvari fleet. 80% of human vessels. 3 billion casualties across the Empire. 14 human settlements were caught in crossfire. Amy felt the weight of those numbers. So many. Yes, but 7 billion survived because of your warning. Because humans came to help. Because we fought together. Quilmes touched Amy's hand. "You gave us a future. What about my people?" "The other humans?" Owen died. David died. Ruth died. But Leah survived. Anne survived. Grace survived. They want to see you when you are strong enough. Amy closed her eyes. Friends she barely knew. Dead because they answered her call. I should have done more. You crossed the void alone to warn strangers. You brought humans together. You fought until your ship could not fight anymore. What more could anyone do? The memorial service took 3 days. Every species gathered to honor their dead. Talvari tradition called for long eulogies. Human tradition preferred brevity and celebration of life. They compromised. Short speeches. Long remembrances. Shared grief. Chancellor Vornum spoke first. We came close to extinction. We were saved by people we did not know, species we just met. They owed us nothing. They gave us everything. The Talvari Empire will never forget this sacrifice. Grace stood to speak for the humans. Her voice was steady. Humans did not come here to be heroes. We came because it was right. Because neighbors help neighbors. Because the universe is better when people stand together. We lost friends, family, but we gained something too. We found allies. We found purpose. We found proof that the galaxy has good people worth protecting. Amy could not speak. Words felt inadequate. Instead, she played recordings. Messages from Owen before he died. Ruth's last transmission. David's laughter. Humans being human until the very end. Brave. Stubborn. Kind. The memorial ended with a moment of silence. Millions of beings across dozens of worlds stopped to remember. Then life continued, because the living had to keep living. Reconstruction began immediately. Human engineering principles transformed Talvari rebuilding efforts. They built faster, smarter, more resilient. They incorporated redundancy, created adaptable systems, made everything more survivable. The Empire offered humans full citizenship, equal rights, equal representation. Grace accepted on behalf of scattered human settlements. We will join your empire, but we keep our independence too. Humans do not do well with too many rules. Agreed, Vornum said. We have learned that rigid structure is weakness. Flexibility is strength. You taught us that. Trade agreements followed. Talvari technology flowed to human settlements. Human ingenuity flowed to Talvari worlds. Both species benefited from the exchange. Anne rebuilt her trading network stronger than before. She connected human settlements with Talvari markets, created economic ties that turned alliance into partnership. Leah established joint medical research facilities, human and Talvari doctors working together, learning from each other. Saving lives neither could save alone. Grace formed a combined military academy. Young Talvari officers trained alongside young humans. They learned each other's tactics, strengths, weaknesses, created a force more capable than either species alone. Quilmes led scientific cooperation. Human practical engineering met Talvari theoretical knowledge. Together they made breakthroughs neither could achieve separately. New propulsion systems, better sensors, stronger materials. Rilith became the head of system defense. She combined Talvari organization with human unpredictability. Her defense network was formidable. Pirates and raiders quickly learned to avoid Talvari space. Havrin retired from military command. He spent his remaining years teaching, passing knowledge to the next generation. He told students about the battle, about human courage, about learning from those different from yourself. Amy could have retired too. She had earned rest, but rest felt wrong after centuries of motion. She chose a different path. She became an ambassador, traveling between human settlements and Talvari worlds, building bridges, solving problems, helping people understand each other. She visited Earth. Finally, after 400 years away. The journey took only weeks with Talvari faster than light drives. Earth had changed. Technology advanced. Population spread across the solar system. But it was still home. She met her great-great-great-grandchildren. Descendants she never knew existed. They welcomed her, celebrated her. She told them stories of the void, of loneliness, of finding aliens who became family. Why did you help them? A young descendant asked. You did not know them. Because it was right. Because I could. Because humans do not leave neighbors to face threats alone. Amy smiled. That is what being human means. We help, we persist. We stand together. Earth wanted her to stay. She visited for a year, then returned to Talvari space. Earth was her origin, but the Empire was her home now. 5 years after the battle, the Talvari Empire held a celebration. Anniversary of victory. Anniversary of alliance. Humans and Talvari filled the capital together, different species living side by side. Amy stood with Quilmus on a balcony overlooking the crowds. "Did you ever imagine this?" Amy asked. "Never. 5 years ago we did not know humans existed. Now I cannot imagine life without you." "Same. I spent centuries alone. Now I have friends, family, purpose." Amy watched humans and Talvari children playing together below. "This is what I hoped to find when I left Earth. Not empty worlds to colonize, but people to know, to understand, to stand beside. The galaxy is better with humans in it," Quilmus said. "You make us better. You make us better too. We were scattered, isolated. You gave us reason to unite, to cooperate, to be part of something larger." Chancellor Vornum joined them on the balcony. He looked older but happier. "Amy Ross, the human who saved an empire. I just warned you. You saved yourselves. You gave us hope. You showed us different ways to think. You brought humans to fight beside us." Vornum placed a hand on her shoulder. "History will remember you as a hero. I'm not a hero. I am just someone who did what needed doing. That is what heroes are. People who do what needs doing when others cannot." Long-range sensors detected movement, new signals approaching from deep space, more human vessels responding to Amy's original broadcast. They had traveled far, crossed vast distances, finally arriving, and behind them other signals, non-human, different species, curious about the empire that humans helped save, interested in meeting both Talvari and humans. The galaxy was opening up, connections forming, alliances building, all because one human refused to quit, all because one empire chose cooperation over isolation. Amy watched the approaching signals on holographic displays. So many new people to meet, so many new stories to learn. The loneliness of the void was gone forever. "Ready for more adventures?" Quilmus asked. "Always," Amy replied. "Humans are explorers. We do not stop just because we arrived somewhere. We keep going, keep learning, keep helping. Then let us greet our new visitors together. Human and Talvari, partners, friends." They walked together toward the landing facilities. Different species, different origins, united by choice and sacrifice. The Talvari Empire was no longer alone. Humanity was no longer scattered. The galaxy had changed. One lonely human crossed the impossible void, found aliens who needed help, brought together two species who made each other stronger. The future was uncertain. More threats would come, more challenges would arise, but they would face them together. Human stubbornness combined with Talvari determination, human creativity combined with Talvari knowledge. The Empire was not just saved, it was reborn. And humanity finally found what they searched for across the stars. Not empty worlds, not resources, but people worth standing beside, worth fighting for, worth building a future with. Amy Ross smiled as new ships entered orbit. Her journey started 400 years ago. It would never truly end, because humans do not stop. They explore, they persist, they help, and the galaxy would never be the same.